Welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Another week of Katawa Shoujo. I actually haven't played in, I think, 2 weeks. I think the last recording session was a couple Fridays ago. I haven't been able to play for a little bit. Last week I did some really important work, which is why you might be noticing that the camera quality is different. I had to buy a new camera to do a different job. I don't think I've mentioned it, probably not, but I'm a video producer, videographer. So things like the camera and the lens or whatever are my job. I just click start instead of load. Um, yeah, so that's interesting, which is also why I had to cut out halfway through. I think I glitched the game. The music's still playing from the. Okay, whatever. Anyway, um, yeah, so I had to get a new camera so I could have coverage of two cameras, but this one actually works with my lens, and it's a much better camera than my last webcam. And this one actually works as my webcam because my main camera doesn't, which is whatever. But this one does, which is cool. So now we're going to have good camera quality for a little while, or all the time now, which is sick. I click start again. I'm really good at this. Okay, sorry. All right. Let's continue off where we left off in the middle of our conversation with Iwanako. I haven't, not with Iwanako, with, I forget her name. Either way, I had to leave early because I had to have a meeting about that job. So now I'm even more subconscious, or conscious, I guess, about the way I'm laying down and stuff because this camera angle is so much tighter. I have a wide lens, which we might switch to next session just because it's so much easier, but it's so wide. Like you see my entire room with that lens. So I don't want to do that, but we might have to because this is tight. This is like stay in one spot, like barely kind of tight, which is good normally, I guess. And the background's so smooth. Look how smooth that background is. Sorry. You want to go manage to write this letter and bring a final close to our relationship, something that I'd never managed to do. Whereas here I am, trying to protect and help Hanako as best I can, especially with Lily leaving for a while. I'm not even able to deal with my own problems. Yuko. Does that make sense? She's taken my non-response and furrowed brow as doubt. She really reads faces too much, just like a certain other person. Who does that? Shizune? Yeah, that makes sense. That letter just kind of a shock, really. I think I'd try to fool myself into thinking that my life reset when I came to Yamaku, but now I'm suddenly aware that it didn't. I'm a bit at a loss of how to deal with these things. I think that's something I can't really help you with. Sorry. It's fine. I think being able to talk to you helped me sort things out a bit better in my head, so thank you anyway. She nods and smiles sweetly. Yuko's a nice girl, so it's a shame she's so highly strung so often. Yeah. The school bell rings out, startling us both. I was supposed to be back before the bell. Oops. She jumps off the bench and races without a second word, but turns her heel and remembers she was talking to me just now. I'll see you later, Hisao. Cheer up, okay? I'll try to. Thanks, Yuko. With a quick bow, Yuko takes her leave and brings a rush to the library. Her flight catches the curious eyes of a few passing students who are unenthusiastically trudging back to their classes after their fun. Reluctantly standing from the bench, I dust myself off and join them. Even while I walk through the gardens in the main building, the thought of the letter in my bag doesn't stray far from my mind. Yeah, we just like said it out loud in front of Hanako, right? Like, oh, Hanako. Oh, the nighttime was so close. I should have just played it out. Whatever. I had no idea. Alright. Ooh, nightlife. I like this. The feeling of walking through the streets is one of very deep nostalgia. While Yamaku may be the reverse of where I've lived in the past, the city at night is amazingly familiar. So this is still Yamaku City, or is this like the city? My eyes are moving constantly from the bright electronic screens glowing high in the night sky to the street lamps piercing the darkness with their light. To the businessmen enjoying themselves after work and they're busily talking with couples on dates. Even if I didn't want to, I can't help soaking in every aspect of the city. I savor its familiarity like a sweet candy sitting on my tongue. Damn. Lily is walking to my left with her cane swaying to and fro, holding onto her sister's arm for guidance while talking to her. Compared to traveling by taxis or bus, being driven by Akira is a rather nice car and a much more enjoyable experience. Wait, we're being driven here by Akira? Or are we doing like the karaoke? That's not a thing, right? Aren't we like taking her to the airport, but like aren't they both going? So are me and Hanako just gonna like take a bus back? I don't know what's going on. Maybe not for the person on my right, though. While Lily is used to her sister's driving style, and I quite liked a bit of excitement, Hanako was holding very tightly to the door for most of the trip. Everything looks so pretty at night. I like her going out outfit. Have we seen it yet? I don't think we have. She's really cute. I like her hat. Hanako quickly looks down, yet as she accidentally catches someone's gaze. Yeah, it does. My answer isn't very thoughtful, since I'm distracted by so many thoughts that I find it hard to keep up small talk. One of those distractions, aside from the city sights, is how Hanako looks, dude. Yes! This is the first time I've seen her in something other than her school uniform or her pajamas, which you'd think would be more... whatever. Gives me a pause when I first saw her outfit, when we met up at the school gate. Considering how much her head is lowered when people walk near us, I imagine that the hat she wears is more than a fashion statement. While initially I was wary of Lily's plan to take us out into the city, when night fell, it became obvious she had thought about this. Not many people have paid Hanako much heed, since the darkness hides her scarring well. So, we're in the cities. Oh, okay, so this is just a going out night. In the city, any ideas on what to do? Akira beams a smile. Something tells me that she's the one who's making this particular decision. She's driving, so you would think so. Even if her sister may have proposed the outing in the first place. Oh, okay. You'll see. Just follow us. I nod, and try my best to stifle a grimace. After what happened during Hanako's birthday party, I don't trust Akira's judgment all that much. It got dark real quick. We keep walking, and I notice that we're passing more and more cafes, restaurants, and other eateries. Every once in a while, a drunken man in a suit comes out of a bar, usually being supported by another, but for the most part, the customers around this part of the city look young and fashionable. Different kinds of music. Oh, I like this song. Different kinds of music come and go as we pass by each business. The discord created by the overlaps should be grating, but it reminds me so strongly of the times I spent in the city with my old friends that I don't mind. I have coffee today. Still very early in the morning. I usually record these somewhere in the afternoon, but it's already Tuesday, the day I normally upload these, so I've got to see if I can upload this right after I finish this session, which is cool. Hanako and I have started to drift a little apart from Lily and Akira. That comes to a stop when I hear a soft thud beside me. Did she hit a pole? Sorry. Oh god, she hit somebody. By the time she rights herself from her apologetic bow, the middle-aged businessman she bumped into is walking away, mumbling a half-hearted apology. Hanako looks a little put off by the experience as she quickly skips ahead to match my pace. I notice her head hanging low once more. She probably bumped into him because she was looking downwards and not where she was going. I step to the side. Just hold her hand, Isao. I step to the side a little and put one hand on her far shoulder, drawing her closer. There you go. Isao? It's okay. You can walk closer to me if you want. Oh. Hanako hesitates, but eventually nods in assent. After a couple of times, when I thought we'd arrived at Akira's destination, we reach our target. By now, we're below the elevated walkways, and the past most garnish is brightly lit places. Did I say that right? What was that? By now, we're below the elevated walkways and past the most garnish and brightly lit places. I'm a bit surprised. The average age of those around us is distinctly older, and the smell of cigarette smoke is pretty thick. The area is far from seedy, though. I love this jazz so much. And it's a little amusing to see Lily's reaction. Smell of smoke. Can you hear it? Just making sure, because I know in the other episodes the audio was pretty quiet for the game. The area is far from seedy though, and it's a little amusing to see Lily's reaction to the smell of smoke. While it's masked by the low talking of those around us, jazz music can be heard emanating from the inside. Looking up at the dimly lit sign, it becomes obvious why. A jazz club. I have to admit, this isn't what I expected. Lily gives an amused snort and a smile. Somehow, I feel like I should have known it, Akira. As we walk out Inside, I notice more and more odd, sideways glances directed our way. People awkwardly catch themselves staring and look away, but that just makes it more obvious, I guess. I notice this occasionally when we're talking, but it's more pronounced now. I never experienced anything like that in my life. An average-looking Japanese teenage guy, just a little taller than normal, isn't the type to draw attention without making an effort. Hey, come on, just because we're teenagers, you're teenagers, doesn't mean you can't have taste, right? Well, I don't mind the music, if that's what you mean. I don't mind it either. She only just manages to force the words out. It contrasts heavily to when we were alone in Yamaku, and it disappoints me a little that she's so highly strung for what's supposed to be a good time out on the town. It's hard to read Hanako's face as she keeps looking downwards. It's little wonder if she doesn't often come out to the city because of this. It makes me a little thankful that my own scarring is easily hidden. I don't know. I was gonna say something, but I guess it makes sense. I don't think people would be looking as much at like a one like scar line as opposed to like a whole half-burned scar, but I suppose people would still look. But I don't think at that point you would think that it's crazy because it's not messing with you like your physical appearance as much. But if it was like a huge scar like on your face, but then I think people would still look. I don't know what I'm talking about. Lily has a similar way of attracting people's gazes, but the reason for it is clearly different. She hardly looks like a native, and the same can be said for her sister. That much is far more noticeable than her blindness from a distance. She may not be able to see for herself, but I have little doubt that she can hear the odd whispered phrase from people who think they're out of earshot. Be that as it may, she doesn't seem to show any sign, or either annoyance or pleasure at the attention. Yeah, I'm sure she's used to it at some weird level. Akira is still confident as ever, though. Flashing a smile, she strides in with Lily by her side and the two of us falling behind. I had expected my eyes to need adjusting to the light inside, but it's not that much brighter than the outside. The music we'd heard is clearer now, mixed in with different sound of glasses moving on the tables and counter, and the husky chatter of the patrons. Looking to my right reveals the music's source, a jazz group playing beyond some tables. The patrons seem to be mostly men, and though there's a handful of women, nobody looks under 30 aside from us, of course. It feels a little like we are stepped into the 1920s, and the atmosphere is quite agreeable. I'm not completely comfortable simply because of my age, but were I older, I probably would feel quite at home. Hanako seems a bit more relaxed now, probably due to nobody looking at her. Everybody's talking between themselves, drinking, or watching the band. Akira casually takes a seat at the counter without even glancing around. She's probably come here before. Lily retracts her cane, feeling out the bar stool at the edge of the counter before taking a seat beside her sister. The bartender takes a brief break from polishing a glass to watch her before putting it down and coming over. Good evening, ladies. What'll it be? Just a scotch, thanks. Lily? May I have a glass of champagne? A black-suited elbow hits her side sharply. Orange juice, please. Damn, Lily's drunk, bro. She's crazy. No problem. Coming right up. He didn't ask either of us. The bartender starts to pour their drinks, a couple of seconds before Akira suddenly remembers that Hanako and I are indeed here, and turns around to us. You two want anything, or are you just gonna stand there? Hanako seems to be getting a little restless. No matter where we're going to seat ourselves, there's gonna be people right next to her. I don't think that she looks convincingly older than 20, unlike Lily. Why doesn't she sit, like, between me and, like, Akira? Why does it matter where we're sitting? Looking around, there's a games section to our right. A couple of billiards tables can be seen in the corner, and nobody's using them either. Oh, that's cute. I hope we do that. I glance to Hanako and ask her if she'd like to play, but she's already looking longingly in the same direction. She's a gamer. Maybe it's something that we can both get by, so with few words nowadays. What? Maybe it says something that we can get by without. Get by with so few words nowadays. Sorry, my reading. Alright. We'll go play pool over there. Akira leans back to see past me before shrugging and sitting back up. It seems you'll have to put up with only me for company. How unfortunate. Have fun, you two. We'll turn and set off the abandoned corner, with Hanako taking the lead. The prospect of a nice, quiet game away from everyone makes her walk noticeably faster. Her eyes stay firmly fixed on her prize. That looks so good. I like this art style. It's like hazy. The table's full size and well lit despite the surrounding darkness, thanks to the bright overhead lights and a huge painting of something covers the wall. There aren't many people milling around in this corner of the club, and I can see Hanako becoming a little less tense as a result. You know how to play? I'm no expert, but yeah, I do. Same. Then, 8-ball? Who plays 8-ball, Hanako? You go for the 12? Is it 8? Wait, shit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that 8 balls? No, it's not. 7, 9. Is it 10? Is it 4 or is it like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 makes sense. What is that? 9, 12, 15. Right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Am I really bad at math? Yeah, that's 15. 8, 15. 8. Who plays 8-ball, Hanako? Go 15. Sure. Is it only 15? Now I'm freaking out. It sounds like it's more, but I don't think it is. I'm not going to look this up. I'm just going to stick with 15 and look like an idiot. Hanako gets the chalk and the 2 cues from the set of hooks around the walls, while I fetch the balls from the table pockets and grab the rack from a shelf underneath. She patiently waits as I get the table set up. After slotting the final ball into the rack and doing some last adjustments, I end up having to fight from my perfectionist urges and getting the bottom row of balls perfectly perpendicular with the edges. With the balls arranged and ready to play, I step back and take my cue from her outstretched arm. I carry a quick inspection of the tip before I'm satisfied that it's in good condition. So you've played before? Once or twice. I just kind of know the rules. The air between us feels a little awkward. She's still pretty nervous, understandably, given that we're in public. Eventually, the silence becomes too much even for Hanako, and she begins to quietly stammer. Who'll break? I think for a moment before reaching into my pocket and drawing a coin. I'll take heads, your tails. After nodding in agreement from Hanako, I flick the coin up in the air, catch it, and flip it over on the back of my left hand. Looks like it's you that gets to break. I like this. It's so cute. Hanako nods again before taking up her position at the end of the table. She's not usually this quiet around me, but I'm not wholly sure if it's because it's a tidbit of information about her past slipped out moments ago. What just slipped out moments ago? I don't remember what he's talking about. Okay. The cue comes back in practice gesture before smacking it dead in the center of the cue ball with a thud. The white ball skates across the smooth green expanse before smashing into the carefully arranged balls at the other end. Balls skitter across the table at high speed. The break was good. The balls being nicely distributed around the table, my eyes are already flickering from one to another to pick out the easiest candidates to pocket. Hanako retreats from the side and I take my shot. Well done. It's only after Hanako says this that I realize the ball I was shooting at was sunk. I look at her and notice a small smile on her face. It's nice how playing games seems to loosen her up a little. Guess I'm stripes then. I take a step back and let her take the next shot, but she doesn't advance to the table. Rather, she looks down a little and rubs her arm. By now, I can identify this as one of her gestures that means she wants to say something, but isn't sure of herself enough to do it. What's up? It's just you had a nice smile. Do you like playing this? Aw. I sigh and lean back against the table. I like playing, yeah. I think I was smiling because it's really nostalgic, though. Hanako tilts her head quizzically. Me and my friends used to play pool in the game centers near where we lived pretty often, and at night, too. Your parents? My parents both worked, so they didn't mind me not being in the house. I stayed on top of my schoolwork pretty easily well, so there was plenty of time to do other stuff at night. Our conversation dies down with Hanako timidity getting the better of her. In response, I get off the table and let her take her turn shooting. Now she's smiling. Let's go. There aren't many solids in easy positions, so Hanako bends down and takes a while to line up herself properly. Hanako's the commercial lighting. Hanako. It's like a perfume commercial. Sorry. Hanako's expression at the same time while we play chess is the same as when we play chess, a relaxed but focused concentration. Athletes sometimes talk about getting into a zone where nothing unnecessary enters their mind. I wonder if that's something she can do. What is it? The flow state. Her posture is good, better than mine, to be sure. It's very close to a textbook method of playing, which she probably read it in a book, whereas I tend to contort myself into whatever position I feel is most natural for the shot I'm taking. She lines up with the cue cue comes back. She does a couple of practice movements to make sure she's lined up correctly. Sorry if you hear that. I always take up ice in my mouth and I spit it back for no particular reason. It's just comfortable. Hanako takes this game so seriously. It's only a real hobby I know she has outside of reading. It's the only real hobby I know she has outside of reading. It feels good to be able to share this kind of experience with her. She takes a shot after careful consideration, and the cue ball zooms off towards a ball sitting at a slightly awkward angle near the corner. Hanako's careful preparation pays off as the cue ball hits and sends the ball rolling toward the corner pocket. For a moment, it looks like it'll stop on the lip of the hole, but eventually tilts just enough to drop in. Man, that was a hard shot. If you can pull that off, I don't think I have much hope. I'm not that good. It's not just the shot though. Even when lining it up, you looked really serious. You're like this with chess too. The praise makes her a little flustered. She sets the cue against the table and stands turned to me. I just like those kinds of things. Her fingers are twisting and turning tightly. When I was in the orphanage, oh shit, I just kept doing things I liked before. If I played games with the others, that was enough for the helpers there, so I never thought about it that way. Staff in an orphanage would naturally want to have everyone socialize at least a little. If it's okay for me to ask, what was it like for you at the orphanage? Why do you want to know? I touched a nerve. But the fact that she responded at all shows that there's at least a chance she'll answer my question. Before, she likely would have just shrunk away from it without a word. I'll tell you, but could you tell me who Wanako is? Ooh, Wanako. Oh, the letter. I wonder how long she's been waiting for the right opportunity to ask me this. I'm surprised, but don't hesitate. Sharing information is naturally a matter of give and take. Okay, but didn't he tell her that he had gotten his heart attack as a result of someone confessing? I feel like he did. She's someone I used to like. Her nervousness subsided. I don't know if you would say that. I feel like you should say like she was like a classmate I used to go to school with. That was it. Like, you don't have to be like, yeah, I used to like her. Or you could be like, she used to like me. It was weird. Her nervousness subsided, at least for the time it took to ask. Her curiosity is getting the better of her. I feel a bit uncomfortable to be questioned on this, of all matters. Bitch, you were just like, yo, so, like, what was it like at the orphanage after your parents died? And all she wants to know is who this girl that you used to like was. Why are you uncomfortable, sir? There's no way I could spill out all my feelings about Iwanako here. Shut the fuck up. I don't even know myself what my feelings regarding her are. I'm gonna smack the shit out this man. Even after talking to Yuko earlier, I want to avoid the subject around Hanako. You're a bitch. Hanako doesn't look overly satisfied with the awkward ending to the discussion, but thinks better of continuing it. She was only managed to ask me in the first place without knowing that I wouldn't want to talk about it. You're such a bitch. It's such the smallest thing. I moved to finally take my own shot. You're so awkward, is how. The lack of talking between us is filled by the chatter of other patrons in the band on the other side of the club. Spying a shot that doesn't look too difficult, I try and shoot for it. The cue ball taps the ball, and the trajectory is about right, but I put too much power. It grazes the corner of the hole and moves off to the side, just skirting the pocket. Like your fucking social life. This is a perfect fucking... You go for the easiest option, and you still fuck it up. I grit my teeth a little. I was pretty good at this game, and it's frustrating to have deteriorated so much. I step back and let Hanako take her turn, glancing towards the counter where Lily and Akira are sitting. They're talking busily between themselves, and there seems to be having a good time. Oh, now she's pissed. I turn back to Hanako and see she's taking the shot with the same face as before. She lines herself up and pushes the cue. She was smiling before. She's pissed. Just before she sinks the ball she was aiming for, it drops to the side pocket more cleanly than her last, though. It looks as if she's getting a bit more into the groove of the game. Nicely done. She hesitates for a moment and begins to address me without turning her head. The orphanage was nice. Felt a bit like Yamaku does. The staff was really kind. But as the years went on, I realized something. I was different. feels strange to hear her speak so candidly about herself. She's audibly forcing the words out. It reminds me of when she insisted to tell me about the fire. Hanako must feel that she has to tell me of such things, if I'm willing to tell her about my own past. These are so, like, here, my guy. Your information is so non-important compared to hers. Her info, sorry, I don't know where I'm looking at the frame of the camera, but the frame of the camera is not the same as the frame of the stream. Because the ratio of the game is different. I did this. I did like a this thing. So I'm on the left. It's not important. Okay, so like, what you're saying to her is so not important. Yeah, she liked me in school. It was weird. She's like, yeah, after my parents died in a fire, I was at the orphanage and I was really different. Like, she's opening up so much to you right now, man. Most of the children there were up for adoption, just like I was, but unlike me, they gradually left, one by one. By the time I went to Yamaku, I was among the oldest children there. For a while, I helped some of the younger children, but eventually... I lay a hand on her shoulder. She's forcing herself by now. It's okay. She looks mildly surprised for a moment, but then nods before setting down her cue and turning towards me. Do you really think so? Yeah, I think so. You and Lily's away. I'll be around to protect you, right? Hanako looks at me for a long time, and I'm taken a bit off guard. Her expression hasn't changed from before, still looking somewhat maudlin, and a silence between us aren't unusual. Silences between us aren't unusual. I think it's the fact that she's holding such prolonged eye contact that makes it feel a bit odd. It feels as if she's judging me. It's a very strange, vaguely uncomfortable feeling. Hanako? I understand. Thank you. She smiles and looks away a little, a bit stifled. Hanako isn't very good at faking emotions, and this is no exception. I move to the table and take my turn to try and distract myself, but it doesn't seem to work. Does she think I'm not up to the task of helping her? Is she disappointed in me? She loves you, you dumb fuck. I'm probably overthinking this. While her silences are just an accepted fact of life by now, sometimes I do wish she'd speak more. With a thud, I send the white sphere careening down the table into my target. Hanako sees what's happening just as I do. The ball hits hard, with the striped ball I had intended of sinking veering towards the 8-ball. Sure enough, as both Hanako and I look to bite our lips, they connect and the black ball rolls leisurely into a corner pocket. All I can do is sigh. Looks like Hanako is smiling again though. So maybe it wasn't all for naught. That's right. That was an awful shot. You win. Seems like I'm pretty rusty after all this time. Hanako bends down and begins to shoot the remaining balls in the closest pockets. I almost asked if we could play another game, but a quick check of my watch confirms the night is getting pretty late. We went all the way out here to play one game of pool. Bitch, it's like... I mean, I guess they were, I don't know. Lily and Akira appear to be still drinking at the counter. Seems like we'll have to drag them away. This how? I turn back to Hanako, who is still looking over the pool table shooting balls. Her voice sounds different from before. I'm here for you as well. I suddenly find myself blushing. It's only natural that she'd respond this way, given what I said earlier, but it's still a shock to actually hear it. Yeah, now she's smiling. Just what is my relationship with this girl? I want to protect her, to make her happy. I'm not really sure that it's something like love, but I don't think that these are the same kinds of feelings I have for Lily, either. I feel sorry for her, having gone through so much in her life. Her parents died in a house fire. She lived in an orphanage for much of her childhood. I can't even imagine what that kind of life. But I feel like there's no little I can do for her, especially now that Lily is going to be leaving the country. Hanako and I finish tidying up the table and cues and pick up Lily and Akira on our way out of the club. Why did I say that? Feels like something's changed between Hanako and me. I can't quite place what it is, but Hanako's acting differently now. I feel like we're further apart, if anything. So, you enjoy yourselves? Hanako and I both nod and agree. The game was good, but we both did learn more about each other, so It's an honest answer. Lily appears to be a little distracted. Worried about the trip, Lily? She pauses before sighing and smiling weakly. A little. It means quite a bit. Ooh. The comment earns her a clap on the shoulder from her sister. Hanukkah smiles back too. You'll be okay, Lily. Hope you can enjoy your time over there. Damn, she said a whole sentence. Thank you, Hanukkah. I'll try to. It would be nice to be back with my family after all, no matter how brief for a time it may be. With that, the four of us begin to walk back to the car park where Akira's car is. We continue to talk between ourselves, but it's mostly just small talk. Nice. Let's go.